Well, I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part.
Welcome back to my channel, and boy, do I have a good one for you today. The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club. So, I want to say a month and a half ago, I posted a video when Vivek Ramaswamy, I always say his name wrong. He went on The Breakfast Club, and it was a crazy, crazy interview. In my opinion, Vivek destroyed everybody on that panel because they were so unqualified to even ask him questions. And I thought after that crazy interview and how viral it went and how everybody pretty much had the same consensus that these people were just unqualified, you would think they would stay away from politics, but no, of course not. So they recently had Larry Elder, who is a Republican candidate for president of 2023. He went on The Breakfast Club. He happens to be a black man. He is a conservative. And to say that he schooled these people would be an understatement. So I'm going to show you guys some clips that I found to be the standout moments for me. And we're going to talk about it together, react to it together, and break this down together. Fasten your seatbelts, folks, because it's bad. Here we go.
The number one social problem in America, by far, is the epidemic not of COVID, but of fatherlessness.
They not ready.
70% of black kids today enter the world without a father in the home, married to the mother, up from 25% back in 1965.
70%. 70% enter the world without a father, up 25% from 1965. Yet nobody wants to talk about that, right? Because that's inconvenient. Larry is going to take The Breakfast Club to school, and I can't wait to watch the rest of this because it only gets better.
The pushback I get is, well, there are lots of things that are going on, systemic racism, poverty. Here's the problem. Are you prepared to say black people are just genetically inclined to commit more crime? I doubt it. And the go-to reaction often is poverty and systemic racism. Here's the problem.
Of course.
1940, when there was blatant racism. This is before Brown versus Board of Education, before the Civil Rights Act of 64. KKK was still alive and well. 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Now it's about 14%.
Wow.
You can't blame it on poverty. You can't blame it on racism. It is the breakdown of the nuclear intact family, and neither side is talking about it. The left doesn't talk about it because they caused it with the welfare state, and our side does not talk about it because if you're white, you'll be accused of dissing single moms who are heroically raising these kids, or you'll be accused of being a racist, or if you're black, you'll be accused, as I was by the LA Times, of being the black face of white supremacy.
And there it is, folks. There it is. He just broke it down. And I love the fact that he's breaking it down in numbers and statistics, because you can't really argue statistics and history and numbers when they're presented right in front of your face. Now, I'm sure the Breakfast Club is going to try and finagle their way out of this argument by playing the victimhood card, because that's what they love to do. But I love the fact that Larry Elder, as a black conservative, is like, hold up a second. Let me show you the stats. Let me show you the history, and then we can have this conversation. But let's have it in honesty, because oftentimes these conversations get hijacked by emotions. Emotions. And that is exactly where the conversation is going to go as this video continues to progress. But what I love is that Larry completely, I guess, fights against their emotional outburst by once again revealing to them the studies, the history, the statistics, things you can't really argue against. But of course, the Breakfast Club will do that. But I love the fact that he always brings it back to the logic, because we know that facts do not care about your feelings. Let's keep watching.
Let me ask you a question. What do white people do wrong?
Larry Elder, what do you mean?
And here comes the bait question from Charlemagne. What do white people do? You know what's funny is obviously they have a certain slant that they want to portray in this interview. And the fact that Larry Elder, just in the first 5 minutes, is knocking it out of the park, Charlemagne's only response is, but what about white people? It's like, you can't make this up. You cannot make this up. And it's very clear exactly the mindset that Charlemagne has, and I'm sure that DJ Envy has, and anybody else on this panel is going to have. It's victimhood and white people and victimhood.
If there's systemic racism in this country, which we know it is.
No, I don't say there is. You say there is. I don't believe that.
Oh, you don't believe this? No,
Oops, my bad. I think Charlemagne is realizing that Larry Elder is not going to be baited with these race-based questions of gotcha, he's not gonna fall for it. He did not stutter. In his opinion, there is no such thing as systemic racism, and he's going to break it down, trust and believe, in this video, but I love the fact that he didn't stutter. He made it very clear. That's your perspective, and that's your angle. That's not mine. Big difference.
Mr. Elder, quick question. Let's just remove the word racism, since that seems to be a word that triggers, a conversation down the water hole. Let's focus on the word system.
I can't. Oh, hell to the no, to the no.
Hell to the no, to the no.
I can't. Let me just calm down. Let me breathe. So if you guys watched my Vivek interview on The Breakfast Club, he went head to head with this particular woman. Now, this lady, let me say this in the nicest way possible. I can't stand her. She has to be the most ignorant person I've ever seen on any political talk show. She's not a political correspondent, in my opinion. She's somebody that has a very clear agenda. She cuts people off. She's rude. Her accusations are baseless. Her arguments are very weak and elementary. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And what blows my mind is the fact that The Breakfast Club would bring this woman back to have a political discussion with actual political candidates for presidency of the United States after what happened between she and Vivek, and how Vivek completely exposed her and dragged her through the mud by sheer facts. And she's back. That's who you've got. That's the best you've got. This woman. Like I said, folks, fasten your seatbelts.
So the question is, you said that the system encouraged Black women to be single mothers, correct?
I said the welfare state, yes.
The welfare, the system. So who's in
Okay.
charge of the system? Who was in charge of the system?
Well, it was Democrats that passed it.
And who were Democrats? Were they Black or white at that time?
Well, at the time, majority of Black people were Democrats, as the majority of Black people are Democrats now.
Not the voters. I'm talking about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who was in charge?
The system. All right, we get it. So what she's trying to do here is she's trying to play word semantics with Larry Elder, right? She's trying to say, well, you said that systemic racism doesn't really exist. So let's talk about the system then. The system. Who were Democrats? Who were they? Okay, again, elementary school. So yes, Democrats at the time were largely white as far as the politicians. But who voted those white politicians in? Black people. Ta-da! See how that works? See, the voters still had a say because we live in what's called a democracy. And we know just based on statistics that African Americans, aka Black people in this country, by and large, vote for the Democrat Party. So they put those people in power, like the Lyndon Johnsons, who created the welfare state. And in my opinion, and in Larry Elder's opinion, completely destroyed the Black family. But let's keep going with her point.
Well, most black people were Democrats, and they voted for these white people
Not
too.
voters. I said who's in charge of the system.
Well, who put them in charge?
Was Lyndon Johnson white or Black?
Who put them in charge?
Maybe that'll help you.
Fine. Lyndon Johnson was white.
Thank you.
Okay.
I love how they just said exactly what I just said before I watched that clip. And I love how she thinks she made a point. Like, you didn't make a point? Okay, Lyndon Johnson was white. And she's like, yep, okay, thank you. Like, what? Elementary school. Okay, so now Charlemagne is going to go into a topic that liberals love to jump to, which is mass shootings, and trying to make the point that supposedly majority of mass shooters in this country are white people. Let's watch this clip together and break it down.
When you see the mass shootings that happen, majority of those people are white males. What do you think about that?
Actually, if you look at the percentage of whites in America, which is 60%, the percentage of mass shooters is under that. The percentage of people that commit hate crime is under that. The percentage of people who are serial killers is under that. Black people are 13% of the population. We commit a greater percentage compared to that.
Talked about the smash and grabs, though. So I was saying, since you're using that as an example, I'm saying, well, what about, the mass shooters that are usually white males?
One more time. They are usually white males because 60% of the country is white. However, they underrepresent in terms of the number of mass shootings. About 50% or so of the mass shootings in this country are committed by white people, even though white people are 60% of the population. They underrepresent. We overrepresent when it comes to hate crime, when it comes to mass shootings, when it comes to serial killings, when it comes to robberies, when it comes to virtually every category of violent crime. We overrepresent.
So what do white people do wrong? I'm going to keep asking you that because I want
Damn it, what do white people do wrong? Wow. So Larry Elder broke down the statistics, the numbers, the stats, right? Because that's the argument that Charlemagne is trying to make when talking about mass shootings and blaming it on white people. And then when Larry Elder gives him actual data that does not substantiate his claims, Charlemagne's only response is, well, what do white people do wrong then? What? So once again, the Breakfast Club is exposing their real agenda here. The same agenda that they had when they interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy. And that is to push this narrative that white people are bad, that people of color, specifically black people, are victims, and white people are bad. That's pretty much the takeaway. And sadly for Charlemagne, that argument is not really going to fly because Larry Elder is a very intelligent man who knows his stuff. He knows the data, he knows the stats, and he knows how to argue them, which I don't really think the Breakfast Club can even comprehend, which is what makes it so entertaining and embarrassing all at the same time. Let's keep watching.
What's your thoughts with Florida? And you see that they're trying to take our history out of these history books and not trying to teach our history.
Here we go.
I find it interesting that the Democrats are the ones complaining about Florida. This is a party of slavery, party of Jim Crow, the party of the KKK, the party of the Southern Manifesto, the party of Dred Scott, the party that I said earlier destroyed the nuclear intact family, and the party that is opposing school choice. And now they want to lecture Florida on making sure the proper history of slavery is taught. I don't know anybody who's defending slavery. Anybody.
1000%. Nobody is defending slavery. Nobody. But that is a narrative from the liberals because they absolutely hate Ron DeSantis. They hate Florida. They hate the fact that Florida is majority red in this state and that Ron DeSantis won by a landslide, which we have not seen in decades. He won and people are flocking to Florida, my state. They're flocking here. But yet we're so oppressed. We're so oppressed here and it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous for black and brown people. Okay. You know, this interview is just an embarrassment. It really is. But it's also a nice highlight on how to combat liberal people who are stuck in victimhood mentality. Let's keep watching.
Unfortunately, slavery has been part and parcel of human history from the very beginning. Asians enslaved Asians, whites enslaved whites,
yes.
Blacks enslaved blacks, Native Americans enslaved Native Americans. This is a culture, the Western civilization, that had a revulsion against it. We had a civil war against it. And we ought to applaud ourselves for doing something about this. This is a flawed country. It's moving forward. It's becoming more perfect all the time. Today, if you are born and raised in America, if you finish high school, presumably one where you can read, write, and compute at grade level, which is why I support school choice, don't have a kid before you're 20, get married first, get a job, keep a job, don't quit it until you get another job, and avoid the criminal justice system, you will not be poor. And if you don't follow that formula, there's a good chance you will be.
I mean, it don't get more black and white than that. No pun intended. Just live your life right. Don't be a criminal. Go to school. Don't have kids at a wedlock. Get higher education. Most likely, if you do those things, you're going to be successful regardless of your race. You have 3 black people on a very successful syndicated radio station making millions of dollars. They are successful. Why? Because they follow that formula. But yet they're sitting here trying to push people to believe in this lie that this country will not reward you if you're not white. And it's so hypocritical because, like I said, these people are making 6 figures, telling you that you won't amount to anything if you're not white. Make it make sense.
Have you ever heard the term wake-up call?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Brother.
I'm just asking.
What?
Well, I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, you don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump,
Yes.
it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that.
I'm not gonna say it upset you because I'm not letting you upset me. You know what I mean? I don't tend to get upset over things like that.
Well,
But what I did say
well, you just not talk about a wake-up call, and it seemed to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part to have a white guy come in here who also said, by the way, about Mitt Romney, because he didn't want to put more regulations on Wall Street, going to put y'all back in chains. And Joe Biden had lied for decades about his civil rights record, claiming that he desegregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, Delaware, when he didn't do any of that. He lied and said that he tried to visit Nelson Mandela during apartheid South Africa. Yep. He did not. And he came in here and told you aren't even black and let you think a certain kind of way. It seemed to me that should have been a wake-up call for you, but it wasn't, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
1 second, guys. Yo, Larry Elder. Larry Elder just dropped the biggest mic the biggest mic on Charlemagne right now. He's dead. He's dead. He's bodied. Charlemagne, may he rest in peace, is done. He literally had the nerve to ask this man, this African American man who, by the way, is in his 70s, this ridiculous question. Trying to shame him for being a conservative and having a free thinking mind. Trying to shame him. And look how Larry handled that situation, yo. Wow. And I love the fact that he brought up what Biden had said to Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club back in 2020 when he was campaigning. How you ain't black if you ain't voting for me. And Charlemagne had no problem with that. Charlemagne laughed that off. Charlemagne never talked about it in any of his shows after that day. But yet you want to sit here and attack this man because he happens to be conservative and he's not a liberal. And so therefore, in your mind, he ain't black enough. You see how stupid you sound? And I love that he brought up all of the problematic things that Biden has done and said in the past, revealing his true colors. But we can't talk about that. Can't talk about that. Again, let me remind you. The Democrats were the party of slavery. They were the party of Jim Crow. They're the party that created the welfare system. I'm just saying. Put 2 and 2 together. Figure it out. Wow. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here because if not, this will be a 2-hour video and I don't want to bore you guys to death. There's just so much about this video that's just, wow. So I want to emphasize to you guys to please, if you get a chance, watch the full video. I'm going to have a link in my description of the full entire interview because there are so many other parts that I didn't get to in this video because it would have been too long, which actually leads me to a question that I want to ask you guys. And let me know truthfully in the comments down below. Do you guys think that I should make a Patreon? Because I would love to have posted the entire full video and done a full reaction for you guys. The problem though is that with YouTube, if you post content over a certain amount of time, you get flagged for copyright and things of that nature. And so just to avoid that is why I cut this video down to only 15 minutes because I didn't want to go over and potentially get flagged or get a strike on my channel. So unfortunately that kind of prevents me from doing full reactions like I would love to. So if you guys would like me to do more in-depth full reactions, would you support me if I did a Patreon? Because I am thinking about it, but I also don't want to do it. But I guess my thinking is the videos that I can't post in full on YouTube because of copyright, I would love to post on Patreon. Because on Patreon, you can post unedited videos for as long as you want. And because it is a membership-based platform, you don't have to deal with copyright issues and things of that nature. Even if it wasn't Patreon, if it was some other platform that I used that was membership-based, would you guys be interested? Or are you happy with what I'm doing here and let's not complicate things? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit my notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. I'm trying to post twice a week, but I'm failing miserably because I have a full-time job that takes me away from being able to post like I want to or edit videos like I want to. So unfortunately, for now, I can only do 1 video a week if I'm lucky. But hopefully one day I can do this full-time. That would be great. If you want to follow me on other social media platforms, I'm also available on TikTok and on Instagram under CurlyBoyChuck, where I post daily. And if you guys want to support my channel financially, I'm going to have my PayPal and my Cash App linked in my description. All money will be going back into this channel so that I can continue doing what I'm doing. Until next time, peace.